If you're looking at the entry-level versions of HubSpot versus the entry-level versions of Pipedrive, the Lite version of Pipedrive and the growth version of Pipedrive, this video is for you. Let's dive in. Let's compare them. So I'm someone who's used Pipedrive and HubSpot a lot. If you're just trying to get, you have a super small team, or you're looking to just get something that is going to do a really good job at being a CRM, they'll both do the basics really well. But you're trying to figure out, like, should I go HubSpot starter? I've heard HubSpot gets expensive. You've heard good things about Pipedrive, and you're still like, which one do I go with? We're going to walk through that here, but there's the Lite plan on Pipedrive. You can see the $14 looks pretty inexpensive, but also right out of the gates, you can see that something that is extremely important, if you're going to have a CRM, you want it to connect to your email. And this is a hard sell why you would ever pick Lite with Pipedrive if you can't sync your email. So right out of the gates, I would say you're probably looking at the growth plan with Pipedrive. But let's look at HubSpot. HubSpot has done a lot to try to make their pricing a little more understandable, and they've developed a really generous starter plan. And their free plan is pretty good. So if you're looking for free, up to 2 users, does a good job. It includes a lot of different things. And if you're looking at HubSpot, buying just marketing or just sales, they make it obvious that that's not what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do is pick the customer platform, because you can see you get a starter version of every one of the hubs. So if you're looking at, and this is if you go up, eventually professional and enterprise versions of HubSpot, which hubs do you want to include? So I have a lot of conversations with people trying to make this decision, and they're all afraid of, what if I pick HubSpot and before I know it, I'm going to be spending thousands of dollars a month? And that is not true. It is not a slippery slope. They do have some features that are really great that you're going to feel like maybe you want to pay for them because you can see them in the app. And if you know that that's going to bug you, then maybe that really is something to avoid, but it's not in your face. It's tasteful. It's elegant when it happens. And HubSpot free is probably not going to do the job. But the starter plan of HubSpot is very generous, and you can do a lot with that. But Pipedrive Lite, you feel like it's a little more clean. You're like, I just rather just pay some money. I don't want to be pulled into like this enterprise platform. And if you just want a CRM, then Pipedrive probably is the one for you. If you want something straightforward, you want a Kanban board, you want a deal pipeline, it's excellent, one of the best, then Pipedrive will do that. But Pipedrive Lite, I think, is actually kind of the same thing as HubSpot free. There's some really basic stuff that you're not going to have, like email syncing that we mentioned right out of the gates. You're not going to have that with Pipedrive Lite. So really, you're looking at growth with Pipedrive, and you'd have to have a lot of users, and which, by the way, HubSpot right now has a 40% off. And so it's $9 a month billed annually. And if you're jumping into HubSpot, the starter plan, you can do commit monthly, still less expensive than the growth plan with HubSpot. I don't think that was always the case in the past. If you go, you'll hear complaints online about HubSpot. It might be someone that jumped into professional HubSpot and they committed annually, and they feel like they can't get out of it, and they didn't do a good job setting it up front, or the expectations were just off with some of the professional and higher versions of HubSpot that I tend to help clients with. But that's not the case with here with Starter. Starter is monthly. If you know you're going to dive in, $9 a month. I mean, that's crazy for what Starter gives you. That's kind of the big picture overview between the two platforms that we're looking at comparing. First of all, pipeline management, maybe being a little bit hard on HubSpot, giving it a 6.5, but Pipedrive, this is what you get when you get Pipedrive, is you get a pipeline that is going to look amazing. You can have anybody go into Pipedrive, even someone a little more tech challenged, and they are going to know where to go, and they're going to know how to create a deal and how to update the status of their deals. And that's excellent. And HubSpot's actually almost exactly the same. It's very similar in a lot of ways. HubSpot, you're going to see you have, a pretty straightforward pipeline. You can drag and drop these cards. You can see the essential status on these cards. You can edit what's on the cards. You can see the essential details, and you can see when the next thing is scheduled, what is the next step. And that is something that Pipedrive's always been very good at. They do a little color icons here that you can see, and a little more straightforward in Pipedrive. because it just shows you a little less. They both have the same basic deal board functionality. It's just that people can get a little more overwhelmed with HubSpot. If you're a power user, HubSpot is still pretty easy to use. But if you're looking for just something that's just simple and straightforward, then Pipedrive is going to win. And that's why this gets a higher score here. In deal pipeline with HubSpot, you can only have one pipeline in free and 2 deal pipelines in starter. And it's rare that anybody needs more than one. If your process is the same across the different kinds of things you sell, then usually you're able to use the same pipeline. So as far as pipeline goes, HubSpot just basically gives you everything. But here on Pipedrive, you can see that it also is very generous in including all the different deal management features. And I'll keep this one short. Pipedrive is just the basics. It's just what you need and nothing more, because it is deliberately minimal. It is laser focused. HubSpot is also excellent at ease of use, in my opinion. I think as a power user, HubSpot is generally super intuitive, especially compared to any other enterprise level tool out there. It has a lot of power behind the scenes. So I'm going to dock a little for ease of use, but it's kind of like the analogy I like to use is Microsoft Word. Most people can open up Word, do what they need to do, and create a document, save it, print it. But if you're a power user of Microsoft Word, you can do mail merge and columns and all that stuff. And most people don't go into Word to use those features. And that's fine. It doesn't make Word a bad tool. And that's a little more like HubSpot, where there's a lot behind the scenes. Still, in the end, Pipedrive is easier to use. So let's go into something a little more technical. There's contact and data limits. If we look at Pipedrive's, you can see the 2,500 leads and deals per seat in Lite, 5,000 it grows. Pipedrive does not have a limit on the number of contacts that you can have. But in HubSpot, I think technically the limit is you can have up to 15 million contacts in HubSpot. But this is where sometimes you'll see this. And this is a HubSpot thing that to keep in mind is you might see, oh, it only includes 1,000 marketing contacts, but those are your database could have millions of contacts without it charging you any extra. But if you flip a contact to a marketable contact where you can send HubSpot marketing email through, email where HubSpot sending it through their servers, then that's where there's a limit. And so in starter, you can see there's 1,000 as the limit that you can mark as marketing. And it's just a little toggle that you can flip back and forth. HubSpot doesn't really have a limit. It's the thing that it has a limit on is something that you don't even get with Pipedrive. I mean, you can add it as the campaigns add-on with Pipedrive. Campaigns. So you can add that as an add-on, but that's something that comes with HubSpot. And that's what you're seeing. That's where you're seeing the limit on HubSpot is just marketing contacts. So I'm going to give HubSpot a win there. Email and communication. Pipedrive does include contact sync, even on their Lite plan, but HubSpot includes email sync on all of their plans. So that's hands down for me. If I'm ever talking to someone about CRM and they don't want to sync their email, you could use a spreadsheet. You can use a yellow legal notepad on your desk. If you're not going to sync your email, then what are you doing? So I think that that's a critical piece that Pipedrive is missing on their Lite plan. So you're definitely looking at growth or higher. And it's actually really good though. Pipedrive, when you do have that as an option, you can connect multiple emails. It's robust and it works well. It's just not on the Lite plan. And that's what we're comparing here. So, but automation, HubSpot includes a little bit of it in their starter plan. Let's look at the feature breakdown here for automation. There's one automated action that you can do with free, and you go up to 10 with starter. And then Pipedrive doesn't include any in Lite. If you're going with a CRM, it doesn't include email syncing, it doesn't include sequences, it doesn't include automations. It's really hampered. And so that is, Pipedrive gets a really low score there. All right, reporting. This is kind of a surprise as I actually dove into this because I've used both of these a lot for reporting. And in general, HubSpot's better. The reporting is much, much better, but on the higher plans. When we're looking at entry level HubSpot versus Pipedrive, this is an area where Pipedrive is actually the one that's a little more generous. This is kind of the exception here. So on HubSpot, you can see that custom reporting, non-existent. You can still do 10 dashboards, 50 reports per dashboard. You still have reporting, but you're going to have to go with the reports that they give you. And there's a lot there, and it probably covers most people. But I don't think I've ever, for those clients that I've worked with who have the professional level of HubSpot, they all use them. And the HubSpot doesn't include it in Starter. But in Pipedrive, under Insights and Reports, they include activity reports, their reports, pretty generous, even on the entry-level plans. They even have AI-powered report creation that's included with Pipedrive. And then I think somewhere it says the number of reports. There's a limit. I think it's 15. Yeah, you can have up to 15 reports per seat with Pipedrive. Pipedrive's advanced features on the higher level plans are not as good as HubSpot, but on the entry level plans, Pipedrive is a little more generous. So the upgrade path here, I would generally recommend HubSpot starter plan. It's actually less money, but it includes a lot more than Pipedrive does. But this is the area where people rightfully feel like they're going to head down a path where HubSpot says you have to pay thousands of dollars. And if that's the case, maybe you're so successful and you rely so much on it that it's still a fantastic value. And I wouldn't personally be that scared about it, but that is the thing I hear. I talk to people, and that's something that they're concerned about with HubSpot is they're online, they see it's expensive, and then the reality is it can get a lot more expensive. So I'm going to give Pipedrive, the win here. Actually, in hindsight, though, I shouldn't have given HubSpot a 5 because that goes against what I'm telling you. I'm saying that this needs to, and I'm actually going to change that right here. There we go. So Pipedrive, Flight Edge, HubSpot has those enterprise level plans and features available if you need them. And so if you're a growing company and you want something to grow into, HubSpot that is actually a huge benefit to HubSpot. So support. The community with HubSpot is a lot bigger, and you're going to find a lot more people online. HubSpot has entire conferences, inbound conference every year. But they're kind of the one, where if you're looking for support, a live person to talk to, even you can get live chat support here with the growth plan. And with HubSpot, you're not going to get a live person on the free plan, but on Starter, you can still message. You're not going to get anyone on the phone with Pipedrive either. So they're fairly comparable, maybe a slight edge for Pipedrive. So the mobile apps, both have excellent mobile apps, both are available on these entry-level plans. If you have people on the road at all, definitely recommend getting them up to speed with the mobile apps and all that they can do. So just kind of a recap, you're looking at HubSpot Starter, which, right now there's a promo for HubSpot that is $9 a month per seat. That's crazy for everything that HubSpot Starter includes. Pipedrive Growth is $39 a month per seat. So this is a single seat, annual billing. Both of them have options to go month to month. If you don't feel like for sure which direction to go, I have a resource for you that I'll share here in a minute to help you through. Not necessarily it's not so much focused on the tool, but just focused on the challenges that you're trying to solve. But if you want more than a basic CRM, you want something to grow into, HubSpot's going to be the thing. If you want something that's just laser focused on sales and deal pipeline, then Pipedrive is probably going to be the one for you. This is an assessment focused on your top challenges, your top priorities, and it'll walk through every element of your revenue system. And that'll help you think through, do I want some of these more advanced features, or am I good? And am I going to laser focus in on just something that's just simple like Pipedrive, or something that I can grow into like HubSpot? Let me know if you have any questions, or reach out at crm.coach. Good luck.